Shalom, Mr. Moshe Fadlon, the mayor of Herzliya. I mean, these are very sort of complex days to be a mayor, but on the other hand, you're on the forefront. How has this impacted you and as a person and as a mayor from the beginning of the corona till this very day? With your permission, there is no leadership and there is no governance. The crisis is being managed under the influence of ego, of power, of force, belligerence, perhaps, in other words, by a catastrophe. The director generals in the ministries, the civil servants are in a state of blackout in their comfort zones. There's no initiative, there's no creativity, and that I'm saying to my chagrin. Let's start, for example, with various PR cars that would go to the various localities, explain to them what corona is, hand out masks, alcohol gel, gloves, bleach, wet wipes, and families, for example, can't afford it, that they would receive that kind of kit. It wasn't done. 25 buses like that. I mean, who did you propose this to? I wrote to the ministers. I wrote to the members of Knesset. No reaction, no answer whatsoever. I even wrote a letter about giving out coupons to those families that couldn't afford them. I wanted to have a kind of card that you could charge with the various, with food, study sort of commodities and things that they really need. Instead of distributing it to the people who really couldn't afford it, they were given to the affluent people. So we're talking about 60,000 shekels that could have been done. That's what it would have cost. Instead, the government spent millions. But let's say that no longer the corona crisis is taking place. What normally would have happened? How is your normal communication with the government? Well, bureaucracy is like it was 60 years ago. It takes 4 years for me to have a traffic light approved. I mean, school, they're the new schools that are supposed to be populated. Nothing. There are no sewers. People can actually plan so many units of housing. It's as if only hot air is being sort of vented out to the public instead of something that they really need. Tell me what is really happening. There are a million people who cannot afford food. Just look at Herzliya. 36,000 families, 4,000 of them are in the welfare institutes. I've got another 10,200 who are now on furlough without pay. So we're talking about people below the poverty line, and I have got to look after them. So let's now think about the government for a moment. No, let's stay in Herzliya for a moment. You're the mayor of Herzliya. So here we're talking about a terrible problem with employment. How did you manage to actually cope with the opening of the beaches, opening of the schools? You had tremendous challenges. Well, I was the one who suggested how to actually organize the opening of the beaches. And, for example, special warning ideas. If it was the community centers, we said, let's have cameras. Zoom, you're allowed, but cameras, you're not. Who doesn't allow you? The legal advisors. But people need them at the moment. We haven't got cameras in the classes. We've got three-dimensional, brilliant ones. And yet, no, we can't. We bought them, not allowed to use them. It wasn't approved. Who's legal advisors? There isn't a government. I'm only talking about us buying them. No one helped us in the government. We're talking about 155,000 computers so that they can study through Zoom because the parents can't afford them. We were trying to actually provide them. No, so the general accountant and the government said, no, we need a public tender. If it goes out to public tender with a bureaucracy, he'll get it perhaps in September next year. So that's a bureaucracy, the red tape that I'm talking about. Tenders, public tenders, and of course, when I go and buy medicines, if I go and buy masks, I suggest you simply do it with our own money, and we simply distribute it. Thousands of people are getting breakfasts and hot meals and food packages, and that's the way to work. You've got to take brave decisions, and we do so successfully. Computers, I went out and bought them. I bought them, yes. Why 9.90 shekels? So that I said each child should pay 9 shekels 90, so that they would feel that they've paid for it a little bit and they should look after it. We have been doing everything, and we have trying our best to actually cut back on the morbidity. We have various mental problems, other problems, health problems. So we, the central government, local government is dealing with it. At least let us carry it out and don't get in the way by asking us to fill in forms and red tape. You've got to have brave leadership. I'll give you a scoop that I went to Kiryat Shmona, and I sent to Kiryat Shmona in the north of Israel with a donation of 150,000 shekels. We gave out hot meals to all the families there. Where is the Minister of Social Services? Where is the Prime Minister in all that? I want to hear whether they made sure that people had hot meals. People are hungry. You've got the Tamam company. They're all on furlough. You've got catering companies that are not doing anything, that they're unemployed. For 5 shekels, you can give that Holocaust survivor, to an elderly person, to needy families, hot lunches. There are no initiatives, no creativity. We've seen total chaos, especially over the last few weeks. There's going to be a lockdown. There isn't lockdown. Schools are opening. They're not opening. Decisions that are taken very late at night, and then there are decisions taken and capitulations. So, I mean, how is your communication with everyone? Well, I haven't opened one government document since the beginning of the crisis, because everyone covers themselves with, and I'm knee-deep in paperwork, but I haven't looked at any of it. I have simply done it according to my own decision-making. So Avigdor Lieberman, the chairman of Israel Beitenu, said civilians don't need to actually do what the government says. You have to listen to local government. No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that the leadership, that the top echelons of power do not have brave decisions. They have no creativity. They're not making those brave decisions. You want a child, every child to have a computer, then do so. So, I mean, what is the main problem that needs to be unraveled? I think at the time, basically, there used to be people who'd come and bang on the engine of the car and say, come, and bang on the table and say, come and start working. Believe me, if I succeed, everyone should be able to. How does this actually impact all the local governments and municipalities? There are those who cannot even spend 500 shekels. That's why I went to Kiryat Shmona. The mayor went all the way to Jerusalem 5-6 times. How much money did he get? Nothing, no aid whatsoever, absolutely nothing. If I hadn't given masks and gels and gloves and bleach to Kiryat Shmona, and I'm helping not only his locality, but I'm helping all the others as well, they wouldn't have been able to open the school even. We're talking about wonderful people in our land, really, truly wonderful, who help each other and feel that responsibility and that mutual issue, but there's no leadership. So perhaps, what kind of, if you are thinking about authorities and the delegation of authorities, what are yours that you're capable of doing better, in your opinion? First of all, I actually financed all the senior citizens' homes. When I approached the Ministry of Health, they didn't help whatsoever. So in all my senior citizens' homes, there wasn't one case of corona. Oh, of course, you assisted a public or private institution and you helped them privately. Yep, I'm willing to explain why I did it. I took that brave decision. And yes, I did violate those rules and regulations. You have to make those decisions because that you cannot actually separate between responsibility and authority. So beyond the actual challenges of corona that just seem to be multiplying, can you see an opportunity here for regrowth? Do you see Herzliya extricating itself from this crisis stronger? I would like to repeat and reiterate the way Israel is functioning. It'll just get worse and worse. But we, in our local authority, in education, in health, in mental health, and economics, in economy as well, we are functioning. For example, it's the new year. We need to give a gift to all our employees. And so I printed special little labels that we bought in Herzliya, things that were manufactured in Herzliya. And we're really trying to encourage that as well. But what about other towns that are not in that position that Herzliya is in? Listen, wonderful people from the community and various companies helped him build an enormous supermarket with 400,000 shekels of contributors. And I would like to invite all the families who are on furlough to come and take 30 units of food and 10 units of clothing free of charge for all those people on furlough who are unemployed at the moment. So we spoke about corona a lot, so I'd now like to speak about an additional burning issue. We saw that battle over the Asi River and that the actual entrance into that public area with all those various issues with the cliffs, how some of the actual inhabitants have really sort of taken over those areas and not allowing the public in. Well, it's on our table. We're working on it. It's a private territory. It was confiscated, yes, appropriated. So we have professional consultants and lawyers, and it'll be agreement will be reached. We're sitting. After all, this is private land, and so that everyone can enjoy it, we will reach an agreement with them, and they will be compensated. After all, it's private land. So thank you very much, and I wish you all health and happiness in this new year.
We'll continue on to an interview between Major General in Reserves Amos Gilad and Moshe Fadlon, former U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy.